In 2017, you've probably noticed that throughout the village there have been many improvements, and there's also plans for new improvements in 2018. I have Brad Hudson, CEO of Village Management Services, with us today to give us an update.
Well,
hi.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Lisa. I was here a couple of weeks ago and we talked about kind of closing out the year. I want to continue that by talking about how we closed out the year financially.
Okay.
We just closed the books yesterday, and so I have the most recent up-to-date data on our financial performance for last year.
Fantastic.
So excited about that.
Okay.
Everyone knows we did a bunch of projects. We fixed literally thousands of things around the village and have plans for many, many more this year. But I think some residents will be surprised at how we did financially.
Well, good. Well, let's take a look at that.
Well, here we go. We've got some numbers here. Maybe they can switch to the big slide. But you can see that overall, our fund balances have increased. Our reserve funds are up by $5 million, our contingency funds are up $1 million, and our facilities fees funds are up almost $3 million. So overall, we're up, well, almost $4.5 million from the end of last year.
Wow.
So even though we spent money on all these improvements, we have more money in the bank.
Well, how'd you do that?
Well, you know what? We were very careful. We negotiated toughly. We bid projects out. We got rid of vendors who weren't performing to our standards.
Okay.
And we did a lot of stuff in-house with our own workforce. So
Great.
it was a combination of things. I think we've gained a lot of efficiencies in terms of using technology. There's just a number of things that we've put into place that make us much, much more competitive when we go out and look for folks to do work.
Sounds good. Sounds like you're looking out for everybody.
We are. You know, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed here. There's been a lot of deferred maintenance over the years, and so we got to do that, but also be mindful that residents have a thin tolerance for assessment increases, and so we want to do everything we can to put downward pressure on assessments while at the same time making the improvements that our villagers expect.
Right. Right. Fantastic. And you brought some pictures for us, right?
Well, I want to talk about, because you know, there's a misperception, just like, you know, there was an article in the Globe the other day that said, well, they're spending us into bankruptcy. No, quite the opposite. I just showed you the numbers from the year-end books for last year. We actually have more money in the bank now than we did at the end of 2016.
Right.
And so same thing here. You hear, wow, they're doing these Taj Mahal projects. Well, not really. There aren't really any Taj Mahal projects here. What there is a bunch of maintenance.
Right.
Fixing things that have not been fixed before. So I have a whole bunch of pictures here. Let's see
Okay.
what we're starting with. Oh, this isn't one I showed, but this is a good example of dry rot that exists throughout the village.
Right.
In manors, in clubhouses, pretty much everywhere. I think in the past, the practice was just to patch it up, paint over it, and don't look at it until you come back again and fix it in 5 years.
Right.
What we're doing now is really taking out infected wood, and then we're replacing it either with non-wood materials. Oh, look at this. Non-wood materials or specially treated wood that is not susceptible to this. So removing this from the structure is very important. This is a garden villa here. You can see this is a significant structural element, and this is in Third, but we also have similar problems in United as well. We don't have quite the same level of dry rot in GRF facilities for a number of reasons, but this is pretty representative of what we're doing, and we have probably $3 or $4 million in next year's budget just to do that. Here's what it looks like at the end of the day.
Oh, it looks a lot better.
That, but we have many more of these we're working on.
Right.
And so we anticipate that to continue for a number of years as we address these dry rot problems.
Now, I want to go back to something that you said about the non-wood materials. Give me an example of what kind of materials you use.
Well, we use various plastics and other sort of artificial materials, say on a fascia board, on a roof, or exterior architectural features to get the wood out, which is susceptible
Right.
To dry rot, and get other materials that look like wood but don't have the same proclivity for infestation.
That's right. I think I've seen some of those in decks now too.
Yes, the same material. Usually you see it in park benches and everything else, or you know, either recycled material or other artificially created material that works much better, particularly in an environment that's susceptible to dry rot.
Great, great.
So what
All
else do we have
what
here?
What else do you got?
Oh,
Trees.
God, I love this one. So you don't hear much about this, but we have one of the best urban forests in the entire country. It's
Wow.
unbelievable. But you can see this tree here is pretty big, and it's pretty close to that house there.
Right.
And so when you go inside,
Oops.
oh, gee whiz, there's a little root in the living room.
That's a problem.
Yes, so we had to remove the slab in the living room and a bedroom and part of the kitchen. And this isn't the only one. I think there's some more. Oh, there's one coming under the wall.
Oh, my.
And so this really was very disruptive, not only for this resident, of course, but neighbors too, as you're jackhammering the slab away. So it was a pretty big tree. It caused a lot of problems. We're still working on this one. I was just at this house, I want to say on Tuesday, yesterday morning.
Looking good?
And I took some pictures. These are the pictures I took.
Oh, that's them. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we run into this quite a bit, and I always share this because we run into these a lot. It's expensive to fix, obviously,
Right.
and then also residents and board members and staff are very reluctant to remove trees. And I think at some point we're going to have to make some decisions about how close to somebody's house do you want a giant tree like this, and
Right.
start pulling them back a little bit.
Right.
So it's not something there's a policy on yet, but it's something we should consider because we're getting a lot of these.
Sure.
And it's a big workload for our staff.
Right.
It's a policy issue for the boards, and then of course the residents in the area are inconvenienced by either a lot of loud noise or having to stay in a hotel for a week or two.
Well, right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trees, as you're mentioning, and you're going to have to
Well, there's
just do case by
35,000
case.
35,000 of them,
That's a
and
lot of
most of them
trees.
were planted 50 years ago and are
Oh,
pretty
wow.
good size.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very
Great.
good. What else?
Well, this is the remainder. Not only there's where the tree was, but we had to tear out all the sidewalks, and it damaged the gutter and a number of other things around there. So this just shows the area cleared out.
Sure.
We can go on to the next picture.
Okay.
And then here, we're doing quite a bit of this, and this is kind of a work in process. We used to have a lot of these tar roofs around here. They don't have a very good lifespan, probably 10 to 15 years. They leak a lot, and they absorb a lot of heat.
Oh.
And so we're eliminating the tar roofs, and we're going with PVC cool roofs. And here you can see this is actually in process, and that's what it looks like at the end of the day. Reflects a lot of heat, saves both the residents and the mutual a lot of energy. And so this is something we've started recently, and it works very, very well. And these roofs last 20 years.
And is that something generally that you use on a complex that has a large space as opposed to
Flat
regular
roof.
tile?
Flat
A flat roof. Oh, I see.
Flat roof,
Okay.
yeah, mostly flat roofs.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
So we're doing a lot of roofs throughout the village, both at clubhouses, in manors, and then as part of that, we do a lot of dry rot remediation as well. So
Right.
whether it's prior to paint or roofs, we really do a lot of that.
Okay.
Now this is
Inside.
this is a rec room in a garden villa, and the garden villas are unique, 27 unit, 3-story architectural buildings that have a lot of interesting features, and they're fairly complex. Yeah, they have mail rooms and laundry rooms and rec rooms, and they just haven't been maintained over the years very well. And so we made a real strong effort last year. This shows one of the rec rooms that we redid the kitchen in.
Okay.
But we're also attacking other areas, elevators, lobbies, mail rooms, and really trying to update these facilities. There's quite a few of these between the garden villas and the LH21s. There's somewhere around 80 buildings that need some level of updating. I think there's around 53 garden villas that have the most complex and intricate architectural detail that really needs a lot of updating.
That's a work in progress, right?
Right.
Over
Now
time.
I showed this. This is probably one of the bigger programs we're working on right now, and here you see a waste line, and on the left there, it's our left probably, it's our left too. You can see that line is probably not very functional.
Right.
And then here we go ahead and put the epoxy lining in, and you have that is smooth as glass. It will not get clogged up. Once you have the proper slope and gravity, that will perform very well for many, many years. And so we're doing a lot of that this year, both in United and Third, multi-million dollars worth. It's going to have a huge impact on the lives of our residents, because nothing worse than having a big sewage backup. you're going to be out of the manor. We're going to have a bunch of dry down machines there. You might have to replace carpet and other things.
Right.
It is terribly disruptive to our residents. And so anything that I can do to help that, and the boards can do, we're doing. One of the things we did in conjunction with this is to bring on weekend plumbing staff. And so if we have staff here, if you have weekend plumbing issues, we're not going to ask a security officer to evaluate whether it needs immediate service. We're going to bring a plumber in, whether either ours who are on staff or our on-call plumbers, to address that issue right then, so we don't end up with a waste backup or other moisture issue that will inconvenience our resident. So
very good. And that's going to last a lot longer than the old ones, right?
Oh yeah, that'll last a long time.
Perfect.
Really long time.
Great, great.
So that's a big project. What else we got going here? Well, now I'm moving into GRF facility. Those were kind of mutual programs, really dry rot, a lot of the waste work, the PVC roofs. We're doing a lot of prior to paint dry rot remediation as well. That's mainly in United and Third. But we have a lot of issues of deferred maintenance in GRF facilities as well. Now this is Clubhouse 4 here.
Okay. And
believe it or not, this building's almost 50 years old. And we just tented it for termites for the very first time in its whole life. And you can see it's a wood building.
Right.
And so we've done that. And here you can see we've painted a lot of the external features here, removed dry rot. We're continuing that this year. We started last year. You can see the pool solar there in the upper left-hand corner.
Great.
So that's a wonderful addition. We can keep that pool heated almost for free.
Right.
It's a really wonderful investment for the community, and we were very, very pleased that the GRF board authorized us to do that. I think I have some other Clubhouse 4 pictures here. Yeah, you can see some of the problems up there on that parapet wall there, where you've got some dry rot going on, and so we're just in here cleaning this clubhouse up. We'll remove dry rot and then go ahead and paint and seal properly. We're also doing these deckings around the pool are pretty old. You can see they've been kind of pulled up there, but we're redoing those. And then I think the next one is actually the pool itself.
I was just over there.
Did you see that?
Yeah, earlier this week I was there, and they were working hard.
So yeah, we're gonna do a lot of cleanup and replastering there. And this is a pretty popular pool, and gets a lot of activity, and so we want to make sure it's maintained in tip-top shape.
Perfect.
So
that's great.
A lot of work going on at Clubhouse 4. There might be one more picture there. Seemed like there was
I guess that's all we have.
I thought there was a picture of the old bridge room. Oh, here, look at this.
Oh, well, here's that.
Boy, you got to love this. This is the gatehouse at gate 12 leading to the golf course and to lawn bowling, Clubhouse 2, other amenities that are in the area. And as you can see, it has seen better days. And so we're going to, what we had been doing is spending about $500,000 to replace these. And I stopped that program immediately when I got here. And so it costs about $20,000 to rehab one of these.
Oh.
And we have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And so it's a huge savings for the community.
Absolutely.
We can make them very functional. Again, now I
this
kind of like this.
Whose bathroom
This
is
is
that?
perfect. You can leave this here. See, you can sit on the bathroom and get a drink out of the drinking fountain at the same time. Actually, if you knew the size of this, you can also look out the front window and work the controls on the computer too.
Isn't that about the size of an airplane bathroom about now?
It's a one-stop shop. So we're gonna, and you can warm up a burrito too while you're at it. So we're going to change this a little bit and just spruce it up, doll it up a little bit, make it more efficient. I mean, some of these things are trip hazards, and it's just not super functional, but we'll get that cleaned up. We have a bunch of other ones to do too. I don't know if we have other pictures of gatehouses, but I know we have to
There's some plumbing.
We have to do 10, 11, 12. There's a number of them we have to do. I think there's 3 or 4 left.
Okay.
So of gatehouses, and again, we're not spending the $500,000 a pop plus.
Right.
We're spending $20,000, and we're gonna get them. And then we also put the technology for the new gate arms in at the same time.
Right.
So that's a nice feature as well. So they're cleaned up. The new technology's in, the dwelling live system, and then we come in right behind that with the gate arms and the RFID stickers to protect our community.
Right. Perfect.
So Yeah, it's good.
It's good. You got some more?
Well, now, again, we're doing this at most of the pools. This is kind of a work in progress here where we're just changing out a lot of the pool equipment. And some of this is very, very old and dysfunctional. One of the most popular guys that we have is our pool maintenance supervisors. And I mean, this guy's all over the place. And he is very busy trying to maintain some of this very old equipment. And so I'm trying to help him out a little bit. And let's update and upgrade to more efficient, better equipment, and have these pools up and running all the time.
Well, even some energy efficiency too, right?
Well, this is more on the cleaning side,
okay.
But there is some efficiency involved, particularly on the heating boiler side.
Right.
Now with the pool solar, we use less of the boiler and heating, so that's better. But just trying to make sure that you have the right sanitary conditions for a public pool is very important. And so having the right circulation, having the chemical distribution even, all those sorts of things are very important. And so we want our residents to be healthy when they're swimming in our pools.
Yeah. Excellent. And now where's this?
Well, this is the annex of Clubhouse 2, and people will remember that there were, I don't know, maybe 10 or 8 abandoned shuffleboard courts there. And they were all broken and uneven and stuff. They'd just been abandoned there for, I don't know, probably 20 years. I think during the building of the new clubhouse, or actually Village Greens, which is the clubhouse for the golf course, this was used, and there was a bunch of structures there for charging golf carts, because that was under construction.
Okay.
And so that was done 4 or 5 years ago, and it just sat there abandoned. And so we have removed that, and we're in design there for some very modest landscape improvements that will create sort of a park-like setting for people who attend events at Clubhouse 2 or at the pool there. And so we think that's going to be a great enhancement, because those abandoned shuffleboard courts look really, really bad.
Yeah, well, no, I think that sounds great what you have planned for that. Yeah. That's perfect. And is this part of that? Oh no, this is something different.
No, that is a redo of the lawn bowling, and it's kind of a little bit of a sad story in that years ago we didn't select the proper vendor to do this.
I see.
And so I understand the concern, but there are really 2 companies in the world that do this, and they're both from Australia. And so I think 5, 8 years ago they didn't want to contract with somebody from Australia, and so they hired someone who had never done this before, and they didn't do it right. And so now, guess what? The Aussies are here.
They're here.
And they're rebuilding these the proper way, because like I said, there's only a couple companies that do this, and they're from Australia. That's where they do a lot of this.
Right.
And so here we are. We're going to get it right, and I know that many of our lawn bowlers will be thrilled to get really
a lot of lawn bowling,
high quality squares back in the community.
Right. Perfect.
Really good stuff.
Very good.
Oh, this is nice too. And I talk about this a lot and get a little bit of heat, but we've been driving these giant diesel buses around for decades. They're mostly empty, driving around the village, 2, 3 people on them. They seat 24 residents. We just have no need for that kind of a vehicle. They're expensive to run. They're diesel, they pollute. And so we're trying to phase them out to go with more electric vehicles, cars, vans, and this is our light bus that we're introducing into the community. You'll see this out and about pretty soon. And this is a 9-person bus that can serve a number of different roles, from running a fixed transit route around the community, but also taking 2 or 3 residents to a doctor's appointment or something. It'll do it all. And so we're going to get a number of these, but really focusing more on smaller electric vehicles. We want to, lessen our carbon footprint here, have quieter vehicles in the village. The diesel buses can be pretty disruptive at times. So that's kind of some of the stuff. There's a bunch of other stuff. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to be working on next year. But I'm going to send out an e-blast on Friday that has basically the maintenance and construction work plans. We call them the project log for the 2 housing mutuals and GRF. And so you can look through, I don't know how many projects are there. There might be 75 or 100, maybe more. And you can look through those and see what they are and see what their status is, when they'll be complete, when they'll be started, how much money we think they're going to cost.
Right.
And so certainly welcome residents to take a look at those project logs and give us your comments on things.
Perfect. Well, that is an awful lot of information that you've shared with us, and I'm really happy to know all about this since I'm new. This is perfect to know all of this.
Well, there's a lot going on here. It's a very busy place. Our residents have very high expectations, and so do I.
Right.
And so we're all working hard to make the village a better place and to really take care of a lot of things that were deferred in the past, but also to make it better for the future. And at the same time, let's watch the pocketbook.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm very conservative fiscally, and I really do not want these residents to be burdened any more than they have to with maintaining and improving this community. But that said, I mean, we're sitting on $63 million worth of reserve funds, which is specifically set aside by our residents to fix these things.
Right.
And another $10 million in the facilities fund. So we have $75 million on hand right now with which to address many of the problems we have. Now, we won't ever spend that.
Right.
We like to keep a big reserve there in case there's an emergency or a disaster. You don't know what's going to happen. And so we're mainly a pay-as-you-go outfit. We take in money each year and we spend those. And if we can build our reserves up a little bit, we like to do that as well.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate all of the information. I'm sure our residents also appreciate it as well. Thank you. Very nice to have you on.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Welcome to the village.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And do watch us every Thursday for a village management update. And we'll be right back after this.